1,000 users registered. Join us. Prove that you are the best versed in esports. Who will get the first blood? Who will take the first Roshan? Who will win the knife round? Participate in the race of predictors and earn real money. The more bids, the more bonuses. Reward for your first deposit up to $600. esportsbets.com. Foresight, passion, and calculation.
And we are back here with Xixo versus Neirea after kind of an upset with Lost Top beating Orange 3-2. An exciting series, but this now looks to be Rogue against what looks to be Demon Lock, even probably Mid Lock. So kind of a Su variant here. We have nothing happening on turn 1 for Xixo, but now the egg is gonna be coming down. Overall, the hand is pretty decent. Void Terror after the egg, so he's gonna get a 3-5 and a 4-4. Not a bad way to start here.
Yeah, that's a pretty excellent start for a Zoo player, really. Getting a 4-4 and a 3-5 out on turn 3. Two very bulky minions. This is not surprising for Xixo to see him running Zoo though. It was kind of his signature deck for a long time. As for Neirea, we don't really see what's in his hand yet, but he's had to resort to using an Eviscerate on that 4-4, and he doesn't even kill the Void Terror here. He only challenges it with 2 damage. So if he wants to trade into this SI, it's going to be taking itself out as well.
I guess, yeah, a 3-4-2, but it's kind of like using an Innovate, I guess, with that perhaps. So it's 5 mana versus 5 mana, but then Neirea also uses an Innovate. The Void Color coming down, but with nothing to show for it here. There's nothing, no demon in hand really at all.
The thing with Void Caller is, regardless if you have a demon in hand or not, it puts the idea of there's a demon in it puts that threat, that fear that there could potentially be a demon in Xixo's hand. It could be a Mal'Ganis. Oh, speaking of Mal'Ganis.
Wow.
Called it.
The top deck, I think you have to go, like, you can go whatever, but you do go for the Owl. I think there's no better target for the Owl except better than the Power Desert in this case. So a huge tempo lead here for Xixo. Starting off game number 1 about as he wants to. We have the Sap coming down, I guess, as an option with the S size. This is not too bad, but still a huge lead here, I'd say, for Xixo.
Yeah, getting that Mal'Ganis early was great, but the Sap does clean up, unfortunately, for Xixo. But like I said about the Void Caller before, it doesn't matter if you don't have a demon in your hand. Sometimes the threat of your opponent thinking that you have a demon in your hand is usually enough to create, maybe make them make different plays that they would if a Void Caller wasn't there, and play around it, or just try and deal with the threat straight away. So maybe it's like a good top deck there for Xixo, getting that Mal'Ganis just when he needed it.
Overall, it feels a bit interesting. I'd say you don't want the Tinker Shuffle at all in your starting hand, and Neirea starting it quite early here. That's going to be quite mediocre, I'd say, against Su, for example.
Yeah.
It's also impressive how good the Deadly Poison is compared to how bad the Tinkers is against Su.
Yeah, the problem with Tinkers is it's quite slow, and the 4 damage. I mean, a lot of Zeus stuff is quite small in health anyway, so the Deadly Poison is quicker. It gives you more options to clear straight from the get-go. Whereas, yeah, it's a bit clunky, Tinkers, unfortunately. He drops a low feb here. Nice bulky 5-5. It shouldn't be cleared up here without the help of, say, a Knife Juggler. You wouldn't be able to use something like a Power Overwhelming for a quick clear with a 1-1. So he's got to decide here, is he going to rely on the RNG here and try and finish off this low fed?
I think he figures here that he kind of needs to, but think about how much value he's going to get from that. Fan of Now is going to be unreal. Overall, it seems about even. I think the biggest thing with the mid-lock is when you're going to tap in these tempo matchups. Xixo seems to be kind of the master of that, but I mean, it's easy just to play the gang boss on turn 3 and the defender on 4, etc. But yeah, when you're gonna play the 5-drop versus playing a 3-drop and tap, etc., that's where it only gets hard, I'd say.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta keep your hand recharged and almost try and match the rogue's hand until he sprints I mean, the Rogue doesn't have as many minions, nowhere near as many minions as Zoo. So you're gonna need to be able to squeeze in a tap here and there just to make sure you have enough stuff to play every turn. But looking at Xixo's hand here, he's got Dr. Boom, Alganis, Argus. He's got some decent stuff.
Yeah, if he didn't, I guess, have the Dr. Boom, I would think he'd have almost no chance to get back into this, because if the Rogue gets ahead against Midlock, it's almost over. Generally, the matchup is about even, whereas before we had the old Miracle Rogue just dominate Zoo.
Yeah, Miracle Rogue was a completely different animal compared to Oil. It just had. I mean, Oil Rogue has a lot of burst, but Miracles was quicker, which was, I guess, was the fear for Zoo. But like you said, it is generally quite even. It very much depends, I think, on how well the Rogue controls the board at the start. And Neirea didn't really have. He had quite a few clunky options at the beginning, but now he's managed to stabilize with this Violet Teacher and this Low-Fab.
Absolutely. Now, Tinkers is going to come really in handy. A full clear, I'd say. I think you can even attack. It's a bit risky maybe to go for the attack into the Dr. Boom, but if you can keep both the Low-Fab and the Violet, I'd actually rather run in. Actually, I have a slight problem here with our share screen. What is this?
Yeah, I'm glad he kept the Violet Teacher there and got rid of the Low-Fab. The Low-Fab had 2 health. It was too vulnerable to boom bots and other such Zoo nonsense like Bane of Doom, because some of them run that too.
There's been a kind of a shift from, I guess, double Violet Teachers was a standard before Blackrock Mountain to you used to need 2 Violet Teachers and 1 Sweater essentially. But now people are running, turning it entirely around and running, I guess, 2 Sweaters and maybe 1 or 0 Violet Teachers. But I've always been a fan of the Violet Teacher and been mostly running 2 of them, sometimes 1. It's so good against Warlock, against Druid, for example, because if you can get maybe 2 or 3 1/1s, that's almost a whole card just in and of itself with that ability. So we do see Neirea winning game number 1 quite convincingly. Yes. It seems to be at the moment, when Rogue is a bit down, it's only the hardcore players that go for Rogue, and there's maybe like 6 or 7 Rogue players now in the pro scene. Always nice to see it come back here.
Yeah, he managed to snowball the board out of control with that Violet Teacher, and and after he got that sprint, I think Xixo just knew from there he was going to come back. He would have to. He was quite low. He was on 16 health. Neirea had a full board. It was just a straight concede there, no question about it. So we got Xixo running. Well, they're both running Warrior here actually.
Yeah, I always remember Neirea back in the day. He was running this Work and Charge combo.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, he was really good with that. He was the only player playing it, but now Combo Warrior is amazing, and he's had months of experience with it, whereas no one knew anything about how to play it. But this matchup comes down to one thing and one thing only: who gets the first patron call off. Because if you can get 2 fully health minions, or 2 fully health patrons, there's essentially nothing the warrior can do. You can kill one with a weapon and kill the other with Execute or possibly Whirlwind. But if you have 2 3 health ones, you just essentially just lose. So patron and the inner rage, I'd actually give the favor in this case to Xixo, as he has both the patron and the inner rage. Now he'll use the death fight, and then next turn he should definitely drop the patron and the inner rage. Get 4 patrons out. Neirea can possibly kill 1 with the axe, 1 with the execute, but oh wow, he's actually getting his own. So Neirea will also be able to go for it next turn. So we'll have now patron inner rage attack into probably another patron, but now we see Xixo getting it 1 turn earlier, almost half a turn earlier when you think about it, because it's both going to be on turn 5. And he's just going to win the game off that alone, I would think. This is so severe, the situation right now.
I mean, Neirea can clear at least 3 of them. I think the problem comes in with the 3rd one. He's got Inner Rage for the 5-1, he's got Slam for the 3-2, he can clear 1 with the axe, but he just leaves 1 up. He's got to really decide. I mean, it's tough, because if he drops the Froth in as well, for example. Well, if he drops the Frothing first and then does all the clears, you can make a really big Frothing that the patron can't challenge without some help.
Wait, okay. Let's think about this. Warsong, Frothing, Inner Rage on the 5-1. You can actually clear everything except the 2 health one. I think that's actually gonna be the best case. Yeah, he goes Warsong, Frothing, Inner Rage on the 5-1, runs the Frothing into a 3-3, keeps another 3-3 with the axe. There's only gonna be 1 left. It's actually, or you can do the same with an Acolyte, I guess. Yeah, it's actually true. Yeah, why not use the Acolyte and get an extra draw out of it? But this Inner Rage is not used lightly.
Oh,
It's really crucial. Oh no, actually, yeah.
so he opted only clear 2 then.
Yeah, I think the Frothing in this case would have been better. Could clear an extra patron there.
Yeah, I agree with you there. If he had the Frothing, he would have had quite a big threat. For Xixo to have to execute perhaps, or something like that. But now, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that.
I mean, the 5-1 is just essentially a lost cause in this case, so he might just go ahead and prepare for the second one. You know, just drop the Emperor and then be done with it, I'd say.
No, he goes for the War Axe. Maybe he's thinking about coin Grom next turn. But would he have enough even with this? 5. So that'd be 4. Oh, you'd be close. Yeah, he'll have lethal with Grom next turn. These guys are not cleared.
He's playing this really, really quickly, I'd say. Maybe a bit too quickly even, you know. As I think going for the second weapon is a bit of an indication.
Yeah,
That something aggressive.
So he's 4 damage outside of range here for Grom. Do you think you just drop Force on here and?
I think you can comfortably drop her or something. Seems to be the case.
So
Not
this
the best for Thorson board, I guess, overall, but ooh, this is getting really tricky. You can draw a lot from this, but yeah, I think you just kind of go for it now. Drop the patron and go for it. You don't drop the Warsong at all, because it's more about just getting that tar pit of patron that keeps on growing and dragging you down.
So he goes for the Slam here, trying to fish for some other stuff. I mean, he doesn't. Oh, an Execute! Wow. Okay, so he doesn't go for the patron here.
I guess you can wait next turn and get charge from it, but that's also fine. How I play this just full out. If I can get a patron board, I get a patron board. So fast. If I have to wait 1 turn, I don't wait 1 because my opponent could play the patron board that turn, so I don't delay at all if possible. But this is actually looking like it's going to be what, 16? Yeah, this looks to be 16.
Xixo's just going for it here.
I don't think he should use the weapon though. He opts not to use the weapon. Okay, yeah, I do agree with that.
Oh, Harrison Jones. I don't know if he'll do too much here at the moment though, because he still has that Grom to deal with, and he's already used an Execute. So perhaps Xixo made this play on the basis that Neirea used an Execute. He top decked last turn, so the chances of him having an Execute is quite slim. So he felt pretty safe playing his Grom.
Yeah, I mean, getting the weapon out of the way is nice though. May just be tempted to go for a huge and clear up. Mind that. I think either case is pretty decent. Going for patron. Going for the Frothing. I guess he wants to armor up as well, but I feel if he has a Warsong and a Charger, you could just as well go for the patron in that case.
Okay. I've got a bit of lag on my screen share right now, so it's all going very slowly for me. I see a Frothing, and what's he up to? So he's got 6. He's a 6-3 at the moment. So this is okay. So he clears it fine. Did he get the armor up? No, he didn't.
He didn't. No, that's why I kind of would prefer the patron. I guess if he's, I mean, draw over patron. I'd take the patron every time, you know. Because there's no way Xixo would leave this Warsong alive. So this is a bit interesting.
I mean, no, I agree with you on the patron simply because a patron combo from your opponent can't really efficient. You can only really clear your patron by trading all their patrons in, unless they get more from Whirlwind. So you might as well just develop that big board because there's no really real consequence to it. There's no brawls or stuff like that. So yeah, I agree.
I think a major thing will be in this case. I guess coming down to can he get enough armor and can he kill him fast enough to use the axes? Actually, be a bit tough here. I think if he had used the patron a bit earlier, he might be in a better spot. But Neirea is the expert in this deck, so I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt on that. Can't really clear, can he though? Maybe an idea of going for like Luthor or Whirlwind, yeah.
Hold on. What? So it just drops a loot holder and passes. Is it more important? Is it more important for him to find cards at this point, or would a patron be fine just to challenge Froppin? What would have you done instead?
He figures he's in a decent position, so maybe he just wants to stay safe. I guess he may have been worried about maybe, let's say, a Whirlwind that would have gotten the frothing more damage, but I think, you know, he's gonna at some point need to take a long shot with a draw, so why not just do it immediately? He gets the shield, but gets an excellent draw. Yeah. He can technically clear this with like double Whirlwind, double... Oh, wow. He could have cleared this though with double, I guess, Taskmaster and Whirlwind, but he really just wants to save the Whirlwind if possible. Kills the Frothing Berserker, and Xixo really disappointed, understandably here.
Yeah, it's not very often you shield block into the shield slam. You usually have that one or the other sitting in your hand already to utilize the combo, but Neirea had a very lucky string of draws there, which has helped him bring back into this game.
Absolutely here. Double Nomus Inventor coming down, having the Execute as a follow-up, but it's still rough, because as soon as Neirea gets a War Song, it's going to be a patron time, and there's going to be no stopping that train.
Well, looks like it's going to be patron time now. He's going to try and spawn, well, he'll get 4 at least. Well, he can get more than that, actually, if he decided to use the Cruel Taskmaster, but he was more interested in the Execute here.
I guess, yeah, he figures that he's used 2 weapons already. He's used Grom already. He's used at least 1 War Song. So there's very few cards, I guess, that can challenge Neirea here. And
I mean, Neirea...
challenge Neirea's health total. I mean, this is just so rough.
I mean, Neirea was on the ropes at 4 health, and he's managed to come back with a board like this, and that's a power of patron right there.
I think in this case you may even have to just ignore the patrons. You aren't gonna last. You're not gonna go to the late game with this scenario. You'll have to kill him in the next 2 or 3 turns and draw as much as possible. So I would just like to see Axe face, minions face, you know, and probably even just hero per execute.
Would you drop the Acolyte as well?
It's iffy. I mean, you do want some stuff for the War Song and maybe a possibility of a battle rage, but I guess so. It gives you more chances to draw into the War Song.
So he is actually just going for the clear here instead of yeah, I think you're right there, because unless Xixo runs like Dr. Boom or something,
I guess it's a possibility, you know. Xixo essentially with this play is putting Neirea on a very poor hand overall. He's thinking, okay, you know, I can still keep on going and go to the late game with this. I don't have to kill him right now, you know. But I mean, it's always easy as a caster to see both sides of the story, and when you're playing, you only see one hand, obviously, in that case. So, Cruel Taskmaster is coming down. Interesting. He does fully clear. I like this play a lot from him.
And now this gives Neirea the opportunity to be aggressive himself. He's built back up to 12 health here, so he's very healthy as far as things go. And right now, Xixo's hand is not too exciting. There's not a lot he can do. He gets a patron, but he doesn't have the War Song.
Indeed, here, yeah. Oof, this is so rough. I mean, he's gonna have to drop minions, but they're all just gonna keep on buffing Neirea's board, so it's becoming really desperate.
Neirea is really comfortable now. He even has the opportunity to just hero power every turn as well, so he could potentially build up enough health to compete with Xixos, because he's got the board here. But he does actually go into fatigue. Xixo still has a few cards left in deck. Neirea looks like he's working out some maths in his head with I guess with weapons. He wants to, well, he needs to beat him with everything he's got now, because he's not drawing anymore.
The thing is, like, every now and again, a patron does run Brawl. It's been less common recently, about the past 4 or 5 days. But overall, it's let's say 3 weeks. It's been maybe every other warrior playing a Brawl. So maybe he's a bit worried about that. But I think this is still looking really much in Neirea's favor here. So Xixo does.
So he gets a Cruel Taskmaster, he gets an opportunity to draw a card. Hopefully something a bit more useful. What would you like to see with Xixo here? What does he need?
I think Battle Rage is an excellent one. Does he start with the draw? I wonder how many cards he has left. He looks to have maybe 5 cards left.
Oh, that Big Game Hunter being utilized beautifully there. That's I like playing Big Game Hunter in Patreon personally, especially in the mirror as well, because even if they don't run Dr. Boom, for example, a kind of an out of control Frothing Berserker can be dealt with quite efficiently.
I want to mention the opportunity he had. He could have Cruel Taskmaster the Emperor and killed that with a Big Game Hunter as well, but he prefers killing the Frothing Berserker in that case, and I can't blame him, as I mean the effect on the Emperor is just going to be completely useless.
Yeah.
So second Battle Rage coming down here.
Battle Rage into Battle Rage into Warsong, but nothing to go with them.
This is, so tough. I mean, it looked like he could have gone for the Battle Rage last turn. Maybe he was figuring he didn't want to go into fatigue, but this is going to be what? 12 damage next turn coming down.
3 cards left in deck as well. What could he have left that could win him this game?
I think he may have won Armorsmith. Am I wrong on that? Whirlwind coming down.
Xixo can't challenge this board right now. He can drop a Warsong. I mean, he can Warsong into Warsong and clear the Forason, but then Patron just builds. He just gets 4 patrons off. No, 3 patrons off it. Sorry. No, he wouldn't get 3 because the free one would die. The free one would die to the Death Spite. So he just hops the armor up here. So he must have something if he's holding on to these patrons.
Yeah, overall, I mean, going for the double Warsong is essentially admitting defeat. He does kill the Emperor and gets him another turn. He survives, a little bit longer, but in general, it will just throw away his win condition. So he figures, that Xixo figures he has a better chance of just winning outright if he does into something here. I can't blame him for that.
I think Neirea is trying to figure out his efficiency of winning here. I mean, if he swings with the Death Spite now, he gets another patron, which puts 6 damage on board from the patrons, and then he's got the 5 from the Forason. But he's probably thinking, what else could he clear? I think you just go for it here, because you're not looking to clear. You're not looking to clear minions anymore. You're looking to just win.
He figures, let's say, there's gonna be a Xixo coming down or something. But okay, let's look at this scenario. He can kill everything except that 1 patron. This is so horrible. Oh, this is such an awful scenario to be in a Xixo. You can drop double Warsong. Yeah. Kill one of the patrons.
Inner Age, the...
Wait, okay, let's see. Warsong. Inner Rage on the charging Warsong. Can kill the 3 health guy. But he can't Whirlwind. Oh.
He has to use the Inner Rage on... If he wants to clear that for us, then he has to use the Warsong on the Inner Rage, and he doesn't have really any other option.
So he kills the It's actually really painful, yeah. I think the option of well, this actually works out okay. He could have, I guess, killed Emperor as well, but overall,
So Neirea is actually going to take 4 damage next turn from the fatigue with... Killing the War Song is awkward. I don't think he can really. I don't think that's even an option right now. He just has to go face. He can't...
if he does, he has to kill it with the Emperor. I think that's the key. I think he can win this if he kills it with Emperor, or if he does kill it with Emperor. I can't stress how well this was played by Neirea. Huge props to him by realizing that and counting the whirlwind. And this is actually going to be game over. Neirea taking game number 2 was so well played to him. Oh my god. What a legend. Seriously, finding out that... He must have actually been counting the cards and knew that he only had the whirlwinds left, as he hadn't seen any whirlwinds so far. So such a great job to him.
And that's where, like, recording information is such a big deal in Hearthstone.
This is gonna be close though, still on fatigue. It's 5 fatigue now, right? So he will die. Wait, 5? He's gonna go up to 7. He survives 1 more turn.
Fatigue.
Xixo
Actually,
takes 2, goes down to 4, goes up to 6. I think Xixo wins this. Yeah.
oh
No, it's gonna be... Yeah, Xixo loses. No, wait. 3 to face, and oh, it's exactly for 1 damage was the deciding factor of this game, but...
wow, that was an excellent match. Neirea played, like I said, exceptionally there, and having the information that he probably recorded, that 6 when he had whirlwinds left, led to that play and led him to that exact fatigue kill as well. Although he did look a bit nervous when the fatigue was going off.
I don't blame him really. I think, you know, drawing the whirlwinds last is a horrible scenario for Xixo, but I think he can't be mad about that game. Neirea played such an excellent game of Hearthstone in this case. So we have now Druid against Midlock. This conventionally is quite bad for the Druid, probably about the best scenario for the Midlock. Comes down to the draw, but you know, Shade of Naxxramas, for example, great against Warrior, great against Priest, but against Midlock is just a bit slow.
Yeah, I can't really see the Druid pulling out. The Druid has to pull out a very convincing win to win this matchup. It's such in Midlock and Zoo's favor. Both those decks do really well against it. But we have an early Shade brewing here. Maybe this will make a difference.
Yeah, I think this is a bit painful. He definitely doesn't want to attack in. I think he preferably would want to use the road, the wrath if possible here.
So this Shade didn't actually last that long because the Abusive Sergeant will be able to clear this up pretty nicely. Unless you just opt...
Yeah. Oof.
Would you opt for an egg here?
I think you have to go for the Abusive, but it will mean that it will be a 2 for 2 with the trade, the Shade for I guess, yeah, an Abusive and then and the Haunted Creeper over there. You can go into the Imp Gang Boss. Imp Gang Boss is an excellent redrop, but it's not the best thing against Druid, as it's kind of a low damage, you know, high health.
Yeah, but he's got, I mean, it's not too bad. He's got the Imp Gang Boss or the egg. And then turn 4, he's got the Void Collar or the Implosion, so he's got a lot of options. Whereas Neirea gets that Keeper of the Grove. That's generally a very good card against Zoo. Midlock, it's more of the silence, I think, that comes into play, because they have a lot of effects that you need to kind of get rid of, like eggs, Void Callers, Void Walker, Void Terrors, sorry.
Void Terrors, yeah, the 3/3 that blows up everything and absorbs them. But yeah, conventionally in Zoo it was more for the 2 damages you had. You had 2 Flame Imps, the Midlock only runs 1 Flame Imp. You had 2 Nav Jugglers, the Midlock runs 2 Nav Jugglers, but there's only 1 Direwolf usually. There were 2 in the old Zoo deck, so fewer targets for the damage side of that Keeper, but a lot more for the silence. I'd say the Void Terror is the biggest threat to that. But if he's thinking about going for the big event, I think that would be a huge mistake.
Yeah, if he was playing against Zoo, more traditional Zoo, Big Game Hunter wouldn't be too bad because Zoo didn't run Dr. Boom, but this midlock runs Dr. Boom and Mal'Ganis, so he has two very high value targets for that Big Game Hunter.
I think overall, I really like his idea of not going with the keeper. You want to save that for a bit. You're always thinking, okay, he has a Doomguard or he has a Mal'Ganis, but more often than not, it's kind of a mediocre scenario. So he's going to silence the keeper. Okay, Xixo should be pretty happy about this.
Yeah, he gets a pretty safe egg here. Oh, he actually gets the Void Terror as well, so he does have the option of playing Egg Void Terror if he wants. And I will develop quite a bulky board for him, and Druid tends to struggle at this point when this midlock gets all those minions out, and like Swipe just doesn't deal with them, and they rely on punching through with their own minions. But Xixo has tempo here, and it's going to be tough for Neirea to come back, I think.
I actually don't like Xixo's play this turn. Conventionally, you'd want to use the power whelming on something, you know, like a Druid with a Claw or an Ash Drake or something like that. But since he has the power whelming, I would have liked Implosion maybe, and Voidwalker in this case. He gets a strong board. This is way stronger against Swipe. It's also more aggressive, I guess. But considering the scenario, here he may possibly just have to fill the board and go for, I guess, kind of a 50-50 that he'll still a big minion versus an imp.
Yeah, I mean, the Voidwalker will protect him a little bit as well. If he floods the board here, just makes that Sylvanas a little bit more inefficient, and he gets to pound a good like 11 damage at Neirea here.
No brawl in Druid really, so you can just kind of ignore it for now.
And this is what Druid struggles with this midlock and these Zoo decks, just flooding the board so quickly and getting so much power down. They don't have stuff like Brawl or hard removal. A lot of the removal is very much reliant on damage based. This is where Swipe is very inefficient.
Yeah, the old Zoo deck was kind of godlike in turns 1 through 4. You had a very consistent curve, you had a lot of 1-drops, but you kind of started to fade after like around 5 or 6 when you dropped that Doomguard. So you would have to be really far ahead by turn 4 or 5, and then stay about kinda even and you know, use your advantage you got early to win out throughout the game. But Druid's weak spot definitely, well, he can actually go for the Astral Drake plus Innovate is a possibility, I'd say. This is iffy. This is really a long shot, but Druid's strength really comes down by turn 5. You know, you can get turn 5 going, then you should have a consistent curve through probably the next 7 or 8 rounds, you know, playing a big minion for a lot of value. But you can't really be behind, can't really be too far behind by that point. If you're like, let's say 4 minions behind at turn 5, then you just generally lose. So people have actually been adding in the ramp Druid, for example. There's been a lot of people adding the mind control tech, for example, for that. But with Xixo will take game number 3 now, so it's 2-1. Now we will have to win with the Druid. They both brought very similar lineup. Druid versus Druid, I guess, just comes down to a the draw in reality. How do you feel about Patron versus Druid?
I personally don't like it. In recent casts I've done, I've seen Druid fall very short against Patron, even with a bit of an advantage on board as well. Patrons like can, I mean, they don't even need the War Song most of the time. You can just, if you can get 4 Patrons out on turn 6 with a Whirlwind and an Inner Age or something, Druid struggles so much to deal with that, and that's all Xixo really needs here, is to get a strong Patron board out fairly early. How do you feel?
It's very much about, I guess, getting that early start you need. So turn 2 Leper Gnome, turn 3 Frothing, turn 4 Weapon, maybe get a small tempo lead with an Execute. I feel like if you don't get that rolling, if the Druid gets, let's say, a Wild Growth and then can start to, you know, take board control, everything starts to fall apart really quickly. But Neirea is slightly ahead here, so I would be a bit worried if I was Xixo in this case.
I mean, Neirea has got ahead without ramping either. He hasn't had an Innovate yet, and I think that's another way a druid can kind of stabilize in this match as well as innovating something big out quite early to challenge all their low drops, but Neirea hasn't really needed to yet.
In general, yeah, it comes down to the innovate being a much stronger card against aggro, because if you can, let's say, swipe early on or go into some craziness with that, get a taunt up at a crucial point, you'd rather want to innovate. But in this sort of scenario, in the tempo or control matchups, it all comes down to wild growth, and we do see an area with an early wild growth here. An execute turn here and a clear. This isn't the perfect scenario for Xixo, but it's definitely better than last turn, I'd say. This is a start of evening it out, I'd say here. But no, I do see Sylvanas and
both players.
Reset board, yeah.
Both players are playing really fast right now. They're, I mean, the last 3 turns they've just slammed stuff down as it comes. I mean, they've kind of probably just worked out what they want to do in their mind straight away. But Xixo gets a really good inner rage there off, draws 3 cards. Gonna get another card from his acolyte, get some more value, and another inner rage. He's strong like a miracle rogue right now.
Now he only needs is the Emperor, really. Second inner rage, Whirlwind. Wow, this is gonna be insane. But there's only one Pater in the hand, I guess, so he can go for it next turn without charge. I wouldn't mind that. We were talking about it at DreamHack though, like about the difference between, I guess, playing fast and playing slowly. And if you know about the play, it's 100%. You can just go and play it out. That's definitely the what I guess the more nervous players tend to do, play faster and play more defensive. But if you do take your time, you can think out everything. There's also a bit of a negative side to it, because you do tend to, I guess, sometimes overthink things and start to doubt your own play and maybe back yourself out of a stronger play because you spend too much time thinking about it and obsessing about it. So definitely a give and take in that scenario. But this is the doom board here for Druid. I don't see how he can get back through this.
And this is what I was saying earlier, that's all they need. They don't even need the Warsong Commander here. They just create this incredibly threatening board which Druid just can't deal with efficiently. I mean, swipe here, you swipe 1 patron, it kills 2, but it spawns 2 others. It's quite a nightmare for a Druid to deal with stuff like this.
It technically only needs 1 more mana though to go, I guess, Azure Drake plus Innovate plus Swipe plus Wrath for the clear. I wouldn't actually mind him maybe going for a Savage Roar, killing 1 patron, dropping perhaps like a Sled Belcher, but he does spend the Wrath. I'm not too sure about that overall, because now he can't fully clear next turn with the Azure Drake swipe. Don't really agree with this from Neirea, I have to say. Yeah, he could have cleared next turn. But in that case, I guess if there's going to be extra Whirlwind, it's going to be over anyway. A lot of burst coming down here from Xixo. This is looking quite rough. You do have the option for the Azure Drake swipe anyhow, I guess.
This board is just monstrous. And he probably will be able to clear pretty efficiently here because of, if anything with less than 3 attack comes from these shredders, he gets an extra patron out of it. Which is probably why you were saying you didn't like the shredders too much, because they just set up more patrons.
I didn't mind the shredders. My main thing was wasting the Wrath on a 1 attack patron, because you can clear all of those anyway with Azure Drake plus Swipe. I would have wanted him to save the Innovate and the Wrath, because let's look at this scenario here, if he could have Wrathed 1 patron and then swiped 2 others with the spell power, he could have done a full clear. But this is, oof. I mean, save for like an Innovate, honestly, even surviving through this turn.
And there we go. So Xixo takes this game, making it 2-2, just like last round actually, with Orange and Lostov. They both took it up to 2-2. This Druid, what's your thoughts on Druid in Conquest? There's a lot of mixed opinions on Druid's strength in this format. What's your thoughts on it?
It's a bit dependent on who you're playing, I'd say. If you know the guy is a fan of Rogue, a fan of like Freeze Mage, Control Warrior, you can go for Druid. It's kind of mediocre, I guess, against the general ladder decks like Hunter and the Midlock. and Patron even is quite mediocre against. So you can find yourself in a scenario where you have maybe 45% chance to win in, let's say, 3 games, which is the scenario that Neirea looks to be in right now. So I'm not the biggest fan of it. I kind of prefer, I guess, Rogue. I really like Hunter myself. Warlock seems another strong one. So it's kind of like the 5th or 6th class I bring in, but it can be good if you have a solid read on what your opponent is going to be doing.
So we actually got a Druid Mirror here, and neither player having Wild Growth to start off with, so these are kind of big curve hands. They're not going to see much play straight away, but the one advantage I think, is it Neirea who's the top Druid?
It's actually a bit hard to tell at this point. Looks to be the case. They're playing so fast, but overall, horrible hands on both sides here.
So it's a Shredder battles here. Neirea gets the initiative, I think, with the first Shredder.
Yeah, I think we'll have to just, give it a second to catch up here.
Yeah, Xixo has the initiative here with the first Shredder, and this silence is going to play really well for him because he gets 2 minions on the board from the Shredder's Death Rattle.
So with the clock coming down, the thing is, in this scenario, you don't really need to draw. The game is going to end by about turn 10 in most cases, unless it's a very specific scenario. Things are just happening so quickly here.
The spectator client's playing up a little bit here with this Dispel and Moonfire sitting on our screen.
Seems like Neirea and Xixo played so quickly they blew up Hearthstone. Yeah.
All right, so they're it's just a all-out brawl for the board here, just fighting and fighting, trying to just get enough minion down so you can trade efficiently. And this Moonfire and Dispel's come back up for me.
Yeah, it feels overall that the keeper is not very, very useful in the Druid Mirror. Mostly comes down to silencing Sylvanas, which often can just be ignored. You can often just go to face, as if you're, let's say, if you're behind and your opponent goes for Sylvanas, you can usually trade that minion in and have an open board. If you're ahead, you can usually just ignore it. So not the biggest issue here. We do see the Emperor coming down. I think overall Neirea now really wants to go for the Instant of Lore, but on the other hand, he kind of needs to kill his Emperor, as Emperor is a big deal in Druid versus Druid.
Yeah, it's a massive threat. It just, like, look what it's done to his hand already. Turn 8, he could drop a Drake and a Belcher, and that's jumping 2 points of mana there. And he doesn't clear it.
We saw last night on KPL a match between Super JJ and ECOB. It was so insane. You had an Emperor turn. It was actually double Force of Nature, Innovate, Savage Roar, taking him down. He had 1 shade on the board, so it was 6 trends, 1 shade for, I believe, over. Yeah, he took him down from like 29 or something like that. It was 28 or 29, 6, and then ECOB just felt blown away in that case. So we do see the combo coming down for the clear. This is pretty decent, I guess. He doesn't want to take any risks and just keep his lead here. Don't blame him at all.
And he reduces the cost of his hand even further without having to sacrifice the Forest Arm against the Ancient of Lore. And usually, you've probably got 2 copies of combo. I generally see, I mean, some people used to run just 1 Force of Nature, but 2 seems to be the go-to thing right now. But look at this, he's got a Sludge Belcher for free, he's got an Azure Drake for free. It's just crazy.
Ooh, and that top deck swipe, oh my god. That is probably gonna seal the whole series, that top deck, man. Wow.
And he further reduces his hand with this Forest on 2 mana Sludge Belcher. Wow.
We do have at least options for a swipe to come back, but it's still just not enough. I think Azure Drake is the only scenario, but it's looking so rough. I mean, he can technically go for Dr. Boom and Loatheb on the next turn. How do you combat that? Like, what do you do against Loatheb and Dr. Boom?
On the same turn.
I guess save for like mind control attack in the Loatheb, and I guess Dr. Boom, Big entering the Dr. Boom there. Yeah.
And we're talking about Dr. Boom, we're talking about Xixo's next turn, he still has to deal with a Forest and an Azure Drake, and dropping those 2 next turn is more than certainly going to seal the game. Like, there's no way he's coming back.
Seems to be the scenario here. So Swipe coming down. He's actually get to the clear, but a whole tempo behind this is just too much, sadly.
I mean, Dr. Boom on its own is a bit of a nightmare anyway. But throwing a low feb with it to lock out spells as removal is just absolutely brutal. But actually, Xixo opts for the card draw here.
I guess he figures that, you know, Dr. Boom can be big game hunted, and it's more safer to go with 2/5/5s, but not sure what he's thinking about. Maybe he just wants to draw into the combo and get it from hand. I feel like he can probably push without it. Okay, I see. Now his idea is now, how can I possibly lose? I could possibly lose, I guess, to double combo Innervate. So I'm gonna play the Belcher instead and just play it completely safe.
And we've seen 2 Ancients, Keeper of the Groves from Neirea, if I'm not mistaken, so we can't even silence the Belcher. He's gonna have to punch through 2 pieces of it.
Yeah, it feels, for example, in the Hunter, mid-Hunter mirror, the Belcher is the one that really gets things done. It slows the game down so much for your opponent, having to deal with all of that health. The free wildcard coming down a second swipe. This is getting close. I think Lothar will have to come down in this case. But I guess if he was thinking about playing safe around double combo, Lothar would have also been a decent idea last turn. So, I mean, Belcher is fine. Both play around it. He's gonna win anyway, it looks to be.
Yeah, I can't see Neirea come back from this. I mean, that Forest on made such a massive difference.
It really did, yeah. Just on its own, I mean, if you don't have an answer to it, that's actually why I run Siphon Soul in Handlock, just for that scenario when your opponent drops at turn 6, or even at turn 4 if you have the Innovate, but turn 6 Horizon. I mean, how to deal with that with Handlock without Siphon Soul? There's really no good way, save for like 2 Darkwood, which isn't really reliable here, so...
So yeah, so Xixo takes this game, taking him on further in the winners brackets, where he'll face Lostov, who is kind of the underdog of this group. He came up through the qualifiers, and we got quite a few established pros in this. Well, this whole tournament really. The whole tournament's full of established pros. So we're going to be going to a quick break. After that, we'll be returning with the winners match of Xixo versus Lostov. So we'll see you soon.
esportsbets.com, the service where gamers will bet real money on virtual events. Only here, the best odds and widest coverage of games from Dota 2 to Hearthstone. We have over 200,000 users registered. Join us. Prove that you are the best versed in esports. Who will get the first blood? Who will take the first Roshan? Who will win the knife round? Participate in the race of predictors and earn real money. The more bids, the more bonuses. Reward for your first deposit up to $600. esportsbets.com. Foresight, passion, and calculation. esportsbets.com, the service where gamers will bet